In finance, we often hear the term cash is king, especially with reference to balance sheet analysis and very often at our personal level in our own portfolio. So in this video, let's take a look at why do experts say that cash is king? When is cash king? Is it that cash is king always? What are the economic and behavioral situations under which cash is king? And finally, answer the question of how much cash is necessary. A very happy day to all of you and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your learning partner Sushila Hariharan. If you like the contents, click thumbs up. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get notifications of new videos on finance. Cash. Cash itself as a concept is described into separate categories. The first one is liquid cash, that is cash that is kept in money market deposit accounts, money market mutual funds, almost cash like situations that can be liquidated and you can get the cash easily. The second one is idle cash. Idle cash is cash that does not give you any returns. For example, if you look at the balances in the savings bank account, what would it be? Liquid cash or idle cash? It would be liquid cash because balances in savings bank account is still earning some bit of interest. But idle cash doesn't earn any return to the holder of that idle cash. And yet we find many people keeping significant amounts of idle cash with them. So this bifurcation is very important to understand because both of them give you or the holder cash but at different points of time. When to have cash? Is cash always king? It's very necessary to have cash during times of emergency. But as the term emergency suggests, we cannot foresee when the emergency will take place. We are not astrologers to predict the occurrence of an emergency right around the corner. So, therefore, it is important to always keep enough of cash if you are the sole bread earner so that you can meet the emergency situation of not just yourself but also all the family members. During times of uncertainty, also, it's very important to have cash. When asset prices are crashing, when assets that you have purchased at some point of time have generated significant returns to you and you find that the prices are declining and you feel that there is an opportunity for you to sell today and get a better price or a lower price a few days from now, it is highly recommended to have cash. If you look at the global financial crisis scenario, the Sensex was almost 30,000. In a matter of 3 months, it came down to 8,000. Imagine the investors who were holding on the stocks at 30,000 levels and their plight when the index crashed to 8,000. When jobs are scarce, when there is a significantly high amount of job redundancy, this is linked to the second point, that is during times of uncertainty. When job availability is less, it's always important to maintain enough of cash. How much cash to have? Is this king to be had in your entire portfolio, or what is the occupancy rate? What should be the percentage of your portfolio that you should invest in cash? So, in my opinion, cash is zero yield except for the little amounts that you earn in savings bank account. In fact, the amount that you earn in savings bank is so minimal that you don't even realize it. It doesn't even make an impact on your balances. If it is making an impact, then there's something wrong with your portfolio allocation. Too much cash is bad for you. Why is too much cash bad for you? Because it is zero yield. So if you're keeping 50% of your portfolio in cash because you foresee an emergency or because it's uncertain time, it is bad for you because it is giving zero returns. In fact, it is such a useless investment, that is cash, and yet it is called king. But some circumstances under which too much cash is bad is if you are living in a situation of comfort and economic progress, then too much cash is bad. It's better to make that cash work for you. Too little cash is also bad. If you keep too little cash balances, let's say 0.5% of your portfolio or 1% of your portfolio, even that is not suggested because emergency as the term suggests, is a little uncertain. There are many uncertainties. If you're living with a family where your senior citizens are there, if you're living with a family with has a large expenses, or if there are high EMIs, then you want to keep enough of balance in case there is a emergency situation. How much cash to have is a second exploration of this idea. That is, for corporates, the ideal level is to keep about 3 months of known operating expenses. So typically, banks, companies normally will keep a good, well administered company with savvy financial officers and financial directors will always keep about maximum of 3 months of known expenses. We call this as known expenses because of the fact that there are certain predictability in them. For example, all your operating expenses. What about for other corporates? It depends upon the cyclicality of the industry. If the company is at the middle of the cycle, let's say for example steel industry, if it's in the middle of the cycle, then it's important to keep less cash, put all your cash invested in your working capital. How much cash to have? For individuals, salaried individuals ideally should have about 1 month of known expenses. If it is anything more than that, then it is too much to have by way of cash. Retired individuals, because their needs are different, their sources of income are different, their sources of expenses are different, they normally have to keep about 2 months of known expenses. So cash is not always king. Cash is king is a statement that has to be made under three different circumstances. It varies from individual to individual, it varies from company to company. It depends upon the economic situation in the country, it depends upon the income level of the individuals or the revenue levels of the corporate. Should you sell assets for cash is a question I often get asked. During a bear market, when asset prices are crashing, some investors tend to sell the assets. For example, in the stock market, they tend to sell the assets, sit on cash, and then buy back at lower levels. So, if you look at fund fact sheets, this is a very high indicator that the fund manager is not happy or is looking at bearish times ahead when there is a high percentage of cash. When there is a high percentage of cash in the fund management's portfolio, we understand that they perhaps do not have enough of opportunities to invest, or they're expecting prices to come down even further for them to be able to invest in new assets at lower prices. So cash balances which exceed 5% of the assets under management of a company or a fund should be looked at with a sense of caution. The fund manager, like you, like companies' financial directors, is always concerned about this conflict between capital preservation versus capital erosion. If during a bear market prices are crashing, capital gets eroded. You would rather save capital rather than having it eroded. Depends on how it all totally depends upon how much of that cycle you are able to predict and understand. Thank you so much for listening to this video. If you have any queries, please post in the comments box. If you have any topics that you would like me to cover, let me know. Please hit the subscribe button, share the channel with your friends, and please pass your views. Thank you so much, and bye for now.